good morning. Thanks for tuning in. You're watching the F&O Show on Bloomberg Quint Live, India's first digital live streaming business news service. I'm Navneet Saluja D'Souza.
Good morning, Navneet. I'm Agam Vakil. Let's take a look at how the markets are faring at this point in time. Navneet, what the market's saying, certainly a bit weak.
Absolutely right, Agam. In fact, we've started a new week. Of course, it's a truncated week, yesterday being a market holiday. A spate of negative news coming in. First, the GDP numbers, which was at 6-year low. And then you had the slump down, which continues for the auto space. And of course, the GST collections below the mark of 1 lakh crore. And that's the slowest or the lowest that we've seen in FY20 so far. And gap down opening seen, and that's being sustained. Nifty at 10,928. September futures trading at a premium of about 32 points right now. Bank Nifty is the one which is in focus after the mega bank merger was announced for the PSU banks. Nifty Bank is down about 1.3%, still holding about that level of 27,000. Remember, there was shedding to the tune of 4% on Friday, and we have seen a lot of shorting coming by, at least in the opening trade, 13% higher when it comes to the open interest build up there. But volatility this morning has spiked quite sharply. India VIX is trading above the mark of 17, 7% higher. Definitely not comforting sign for the bulls. Market breadth continues to be weak as the broader markets have also tumbled today. So it's clearly in favor of the declines. If you look at the entire listed universe on NSE, both mid-cap, small-cap indices trading with cuts of 0.5% respectively. And the market breadth is just about 1:2 clearly in favor of the decline. So very quickly for this week's expiry, which is on Thursday, that's the September 6th, the maximum open interest on the call side, which until Friday was at 11,100, that's moved to 11,000 strike. And on the put side, it was at 11,000, that's moved to 10,900. So definitely with a gap down opening of 100 points, the base has also moved lower by 100 points. And call writers are back in action today because you've seen the 11,000 call strike adding about 13 lakh shares, and the put writers running for cover for the put strikes 10,950 and the 11,000 put strikes, where some bit of unwinding seen, and the 10,800 strike has become active in today's trade, Agam.
Okay, well, let's also take a look at some of those stocks which are in focus in today's day of trade. And well, we do have a lot, considering it has been a volatile day of trade. We have Canara Bank, a PNB Bank, which is, of course, seeing a lot of surge in open interest. And of course, besides that, we have Amara Raja Batteries as well, which is also under pressure. But of course, on the other hand, we have Just Dial, well, of course, Just Dial, along with, of course, you also have a lot of unwinding coming through in the likes of Muthoot Finance, Glenmark Pharma, as well as Berger Paints. So we keep an eye on that one as well. But on the whole, we're keeping well, a lot of these public sector unit banking stocks in focus, and because of which we are going to see well, a lot of traction, I assume, for now.
That's right, Agam. And in fact, on the show, the three stocks that which we will be discussing with our guest, one of them is PNB, which has reacted negatively to the consolidation news that came by on Friday. The stock, in fact, is trading below all its key moving averages right now. And PNB will be taking over Oriental Bank of Commerce as well as United Bank. Tech Mahindra, rupees, by the way, trading at 72 to the dollar. And this particular IT stock has gained for the fourth straight day, considering this was also underperforming the other large cap IT companies on Y2D basis. Some long positions seen here. Escorts August sales are down 16%, and the stocks also slipped below its 50 DMA.
Okay, well, the slowdown in auto space continues, and Escorts too has reported a 16% drop in overall sales for the month of August. Let's discuss the factors behind the same with Bharat Madan. He is the group financial controller at Escorts, and we also have Yatin Mota, who's joining us to take us through the conversation. Yatin, it's over to you.
Thanks, Agam, for that, and welcome to the show, Mr. Bharat Madan. Thank you so much for taking out your time and speaking to Bloomberg Quint. Let's talk about the August monthly sales numbers. Escorts is not an exception. The overall industry has witnessed a steep decline in the overall volumes. Do you think this was largely to do with a higher base last year, or in general the demand scenario has been weak in the marketplace?
I think it's a bit of mix of both. I think it's a both scenario. We're seeing the degrowth has been there in the market now for the last 4-5 months. I mean, because of various reasons, and we have reasons to believe that I think the trend is going to reverse from next month onwards. So hopefully the things will likely look positive. So from September, first with the onset of the festival season, and with a good monsoon on catching up, we expect that the crop season for the next 2 periods should also do very well. So, like in the auto space, we are seeing the issues which are totally different. I think factory industry is not really impacted with most of those issues. So expect, I think we should actually see the growth coming back to the market now in the next few months.
Okay. And Mr. Madan, talking about the progress of the monsoon, which has been hopefully very decent across the board. In the last 1 month or so, we have seen a decent pickup coming in. So do you see on the back of a normal monsoon in most of the Indian territories, we could see a recovery for sales in the second half of FY20?
Yeah, so like you mentioned, that's what we are really also expecting, and we expect, I think, the season revival will start happening from next month itself, from September, because we have some early developers coming in September itself this time. So October should be the peak for the season now. So I think the next 3 months will be very crucial for the industry, and that will decide the fate of the whole year, how the industry performs. But like you said, the monsoon is good, so we expect the next Rabi crop will be very good actually. So we'll see really good revival happening. And in the southern market, which are not done well in the last 8-9 months, I mean, they are going to see a good revival happening, and believe the base is pretty low there. So you'll see the percentage of growth will be much higher in those markets compared to the other markets.
Okay. And sir, are you looking to revise the overall sales guidance for the tractor industry after these August sales numbers? Because when we spoke to you last, and in general when we were speaking to a lot of auto companies, everybody was hopeful that August and the start of festive season we could see some reversal and the growth would start kicking in. Since the growth numbers overall for the GDP as well as for the industry have not been up to the mark, do you think it will be difficult to achieve a overall, a 5%, 8% kind of a growth for the industry for the full year FY20?
No, well, if you look at tractor industry per se, we never expected August to be better, because normally July, August are weak months for the season. There's no sowing happening, so there's no demand for the tractor really. And the season also sets in only for next month. So really till August, the demand was expected to be slow, and we only see the revival probably will happen in September now. And September should slowly reverse the trend, and we see slowly some positive momentum coming in, which stock buildup will also happen for the industry in this month. So overall, we expect probably Q2 will still show a much slower growth, maybe 3 to 5% sort of degrowth will happen in Q2 compared to 15% rate which is happening in the Q1. So that trend will clearly get reversed, and I think it all goes dependently on how the Q3 goes, which the expectation is pretty positive as of now. And if Q3 really does well with the festive season demand showing good growth, then whole year probably will also see maybe sort of a flattish number compared to the double-digit deal we've seen so far in the first time of this year.
Okay. Sir, and what I can understand from the news reports is that the government is also actively pushing a GST cut on autos with the GST Council. Given the fact that tractor is a niche segment, do you think a GST cut could be the savior right now, or for the tractor segment, there will be other factors also which would be under consideration, including a MSP hike?
See, I think on tractor industry, the GST issue is not really there. So like you said earlier also, the tractor industry issues are totally different from what we are seeing on the auto space. There's no issue on the insurance part, there's no issue on the registration side, there's no issues on the emission norm side, there's no issue really on the GST rate side, with the tax rate and GST is on tractor only 12%. So yes, if there is a cut in the component industry side, which is today at about 28%, if they come down to 18%, definitely our problem of getting the GST refund from the government will probably get diluted to some extent. We will have lower input tax credit. So overall, for auto industry, that may be definitely positive, but I think from our perspective, it's not really going to have major impact on the tractor sales.
Okay, we leave it at that, Mr. Madan. Thank you so much for speaking to Bloomberg Quint. So that's all for the auto sector. Probably a lot of numbers like Ashok Leyland and TVS Motors are pending. Let's see how really do they shape up. But most of the numbers which have come in so far from the auto sector for the month of August have been disappointing. And obviously, Agam has more insights for the entire auto sector and a lot of stocks in the future segment. Agam?
Absolutely, Yatin. Thanks for taking us through that conversation. Yes, we do have a lot of auto stocks in focus and some of them under pressure as well. So, with that, let's also take a look at, several other, counters which will be in focus. And on that note, it's time to get in our experts for the day. But before that, here's a reminder: if you have any queries regarding the futures and options, you can always call us on 02245404141. And of course, you can also write to us on our social pages, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube with the #AskPQ hashtag. Let's get into our experts for today. We have Nirav Chheda of Nirmal Bank Securities and Bhavin Mehta of Dolat Capital joining us on the show. Good morning to both of you, and thanks for taking the time out. Nirav, how are you looking at trade? We are certainly looking wobbly right now. Any chance of a recovery, or can we expect more weakness from here on?
Good morning, Agam and Avneet. Overall, index is in a bear phase. It is making a lower top, lower bottom formation. Definitely from the last 4-5 weeks, it is trading in between 10,800 and about 11,150 odd in that range. But, the VIX is really high. Even when we are coming up, the VIX continues to hold 16, 17 levels, which is not a very good sign. If you see the PCR, the PCR one day is at 1.4. Next day, it can fall to 1 as well. So because of the weekly expiries, there's been a lot of movement in the PCR. But I still believe, a lot of, call writing is going on, a lot of put buying is going on because of the high VIX. So I believe Nifty is likely to come down. One thing in the rollovers has been very interesting is, the large caps. Like SBI, Reliance, Kotak Bank, Marico, Asian Paints, HDFC Limited, all of these, while rolling over to this expiry, the open interest was at least 30-40% higher than the previous expiries. So generally this open interest is seen in the mid of an expiry, which was now seen at the first day of the September series. So what I conclude from this is, there's not much space now in these counters for further open interest increase, and that is why, the open interest will be have to shed, and most of these counters have remained on the upside, have been, continuing near their 52-week highs, and very likely there's going to be selling which is going to come into these counters, and which might take Nifty downwards again. All of them are large caps again. So yes, Nifty is likely to go down further, not much from the rollovers for the index as a whole. There's been average rollovers for the Nifty and Bank Nifty. So yeah, taking cue from that, I believe Nifty is likely to come down. One can continue to sell Nifty on every rise. The stop loss for the same should be around 11,080 for this week, and for this month it should be around 11,150, which is a strong resistance on the upside. The downward support, I believe, is likely to come towards the 10,750 and 10,600 levels. So that should be the target for the sell call.
Okay, so Nirav suggesting to sell on any sort of pullback that you see on the index with a target of 10,750. Bhavin, good morning. With a gap down opening today, do you see more downside for the index? If yes, what should be the ideal strategy that one can deploy?
Good morning. Looking at markets, we continue to believe as long as Nifty do not close above level of 11,200, the pressure should continue. This is a medium-term call with 2 to 3 months time frame. However, at the same time, we have seen good amount of short build-up in the last series. This combined with rules which are closer to about 69% on Nifty, market-wide definitely with physical settlement is slightly higher, but close to about 93% for market-wide, does not paint a positive picture. So view continues to remain similar, believe that downside should continue, while on downside 10,780 will be the crucial level to watch out for. We believe that current leg of downtick, if it breaks level of 10,780 on downside, we may see far sharper cut coming in for the markets. Having said that, India volatility index, which is closer to 17, we believe unless it does not move below level of 15 mark, the pressure on indices should continue. So yeah, continue to have a negative call on the markets as of now.
Okay, continue to have a negative call on the markets. Both are experts. Will remain a tad cautious when it comes to indices. But what about stocks? Bhavin, I come back to you. What's looking interesting to you in today's day of trade?
Okay, so given our outlook on the markets, we are recommending buying 10,850 put, which is about trading cost close to about 50 mark, with the stop loss of 30, target price close to about 100. On the stocks front, we are recommending buy on Lupin, which is currently quoting around level of 740 with stop loss of 728, target price of 760, and sell ICICI Bank, which has seen a sharp cut in today's trade. Short.
Okay, there seems to be some problem with the audio of Bhavin. We'll touch base back with him just to revisit his strategy. He suggested a short call on ICICI Bank futures with a target of 385, and he also suggested a long call on Lupin futures with a target of about 760 and placing a stop loss of about 728. So these were his strategies. But Nirav, in terms of individual stock future ideas for the day, are you recommending anything?
Yeah. See, two sell calls. The first one is a sell call on Kotak Bank. There's a fresh breakdown in Kotak Bank, after sustaining above the 1450 levels, even though Nifty, continued to break new lows. This stock, consolidated in between 1450 and 1520 odd levels. But finally, this 1450 was broken in the last week and has been closed below. And there's been a lot of short built up in this counter as well. So I believe this stock is likely to come down further. The first targets for this stock is around 1370, 1360 odd level. So for that target, one can sell this stock on the futures with a stop loss of 1450. The second one is a sell call on Titan. Now, Titan, ever since it has broken the 1300 levels, it has, continued to make a lower top, lower bottom formation. But in the last few weeks, the consolidation has been set in, and this stock consolidated in between 1050 and about 1120 odd levels. Now 1120 was its previous swing top, and that couldn't be broken in this up move, and the stock has continued to come down again. The rollovers haven't been good for this stock. I believe this stock is likely to come down further up to 1050, 1020 levels, so one can sell this stock at current levels with a stop loss of 1105.
Okay, well, so those are just some of the stocks that you can keep an eye on. And on that note, let's talk about a few other stocks which remain in focus in today's day of trade. I'm going to start off with something like a Tech Mahindra. It's gained for the fourth straight day. Well, there's no particular reason why there has been gains, except for the fact that, of course, we are looking at a considerably depreciated rupee against the US dollar. This aids all technology companies, all who have exports. And, it's trending along its crucial daily moving averages. It's advancing by around 2.5%. One of the few stocks on the Nifty 50 to have advanced in today's day of trade, and its open interest has surged 3%. So where do we go from here? Can we also take a look at how it's panned out over the last 3 months? Yes, there you have it. So it's trending higher than this 50 daily moving average. It has come off by as much as 6.5% in the last 3 months. But if you notice, it's also made a recovery from the levels of 625 rupees per share. Nirav, how do you see trade pan out for this one? What's going on?
Yeah, some very good reversal the stock has given, ever since it had broken the 760 odd levels. It has continued to witness a lower top, lower bottom formation. Now that has changed. It has moved up above the 50-day moving average. A lot of long built up has been seen around the 650, 670 odd levels. Finally, it broke the 690 levels as well, which, was a resistance on the upside. Now, very likely this stock is going to go up towards the 735, 750 odd levels. Which is where the 200-day moving average is placed. It's around the 740 odd level. So again, that is going to prove as a resistance. So as of now, one can buy the stock with a stop loss of 690 and book profits around the 735, 750 odd range.
Okay, so that's Tech Mahindra for you, the top gainer on the Nifty ID index as well today, up 2.5%. The other one, which is in focus and from the PSU banking space, it's Punjab National Bank. Remember, the mega PSU consolidation, which was announced, may not augur well for these larger banks, which will be subsuming the relatively weaker banks. So this particular stock has been trading below all its key moving averages, and it will be taking over Oriental Bank of Commerce as well as United Bank. Let's just pull up the stock price as well. The stock's down almost 8% in trade, and as you can see, open interest is up about nearly 19%, indicating there is fresh shorting which is taking place for Punjab National Bank. Nirav, I'm going to come back to you for PNB. After falling almost 8% today, do you see more downside? If somebody would have initiated a short position in the morning, what target would you advise?
Yep. See, its previous swing low is around the 58 level, so definitely 58 is going to act as a good support area. So if someone shorted in the morning, so that should be the target. One should book at least once around the 58 levels. Having said that, there's a negative crossover. The 50-day moving average has crossed below the 200-day moving average. It is called as a death cross, but again, that is a negative. The overall chart pattern is negative. It is making a lower top, lower bottom formation. So in time it will break the 58 levels as well, and go towards the 45 48 level. So once the 58 level is closed below, that is when fresh shorts can be made, and the targets would be around the 48 levels, and stop loss would be around 63.
Okay, all right. So that's your view on Punjab National Bank. I believe we do have Bhavin back. I'm going to take up Escorts with him. Now, again, while we have seen a little bit of a recovery in Escorts from the levels of, well, I believe it's somewhere around 420 odd levels a few weeks ago, to now, not a few weeks ago, in fact, a few days ago, to now around 495. So there's been a recovery of sorts, but again, over the last 2 or 3 days, well, it's starting to fall again, and in fact, it's currently trading below its 50 daily moving average. So it does tend to find some sort of a resistance there. Of course, on the last 3 months, we've naturally seen a decline as in line with what we've seen for the entire auto sector. Escorts currently at 496. That's where its underlying is. Where do we go from here? Bhavin, this one's for you. What levels would you watch out for? Would you go long or short?
Okay, so we have seen some good amount of interest over last couple of trading sessions. Today's sharp fall in line with, I believe, more to do with the auto sales numbers. So just now Ashok Leyland also declared the numbers. My sense is that post the recent downtick coming in for auto names, some amount of pullback rally not ruled out. But as long as Escort continues to remain below level of 520, upside should be used to create short position. At the same time, on downside, anything below today's low, which is 485 on the cash segment. So anything below that should be used to create a fresh short position. So I would be looking out for this stock for some amount of pullback towards the level of 505 to 510. Keeping a stop loss of 520, would like to go short on this particular counter, or probably below level of 485. If I do not get a rally from current levels, probably below 485, I would be taking a fresh short bet in this particular stock.
Okay, so that's Escorts for you, which is down nearly 2.5% in trade today. And it's time for us to start addressing our viewer queries. We've got 2 queries on Reliance Industries. So on Facebook, Ashish Rawat wants to know what can be the intraday levels that one can watch out for this one. And on YouTube, Lalit is asking the view on selling 1300 call strike of Reliance Industries. I think the premium for that is somewhere about 13 to 13.5 right now. Nirav, a view on Reliance Industries. Last week it was down 2%. It did not contribute to the rally that we saw last week for Nifty. What would be the levels that you would watch out for today? And also if you would suggest writing the 1300 call strike.
Yeah. See, Reliance is at a very important level. It had witnessed a gap up, at 1230 odd levels. It went to 1300 odd levels. So it is trading in between 1230 and 1300 in the last few days. Having said that, it is on the verge of breaking the 1230 levels. Add to that, the rollovers have been very, very high. About 30-40% open interest is higher. It can be because of physical settlement, but at the start of expiry going so so high with open interest, it's very difficult to add new open interest in this. So it is very likely to shed a lot of open interest and liquidate positions. So I believe it is going to go down. So I'm waiting for a break of 1230 odd levels definitely. Once that is broken, I'll be a seller. I'll be selling for a target of around 1150. After the 1230 is broken, my stop loss would be 1255 on the upside. For that 1300 call, yes, I'll be more comfortable selling the 1300 call once that 1230 level is broken and closed below.
Okay, and we have a query on Sun Pharma. We have Rajas Toshi, who wants a view on the 500 September call. What can we do about that? That's the call for the 500 call. Is what he's interested in. So Sun Pharma currently is at 450. I'm not certain if Rajas is interested in selling that call or buying that call, because well, it's certainly a bit away. Let's take a view from our experts on, I suppose, both these aspects, on selling that call or buying that call. Bhavin, your view, would you buy the 500 Sun Pharma call or would you sell it?
Okay, given the stock is currently quoting around level of 453, and this being a short expiry with again next week going to be a truncated one, I believe that one should be looking to short 500 call rather than buying at this point of time. My view will be definitely the stock has major supplies on around level of 480, while in short term the stock is positively placed. We may see a move closer to 480. However, time value which can decay very sharply going forward, my suggestion would be to short this particular strike, which is 500 call, with strict stop loss of close to about $7. Any short term upside could be used for a shorting opportunity.
Okay, that's the view coming in on Sun Pharma. Arun Jagtap writes to us and he wants to know on the short side for Punjab National Bank, what should be the target? I think we've already discussed this one. He shorted the futures at 61.5 and currently the futures are trading at 59.5. Nirav, what target would you advise? He shorted at 61.5. Should he cover or should he wait out for more downside?
See, another rupee he can wait for. The target should be around 58. As discussed earlier, he should now trail his stop loss to his selling cost of around 61.5.
Okay, and there's one more query coming for you, Bhavin, from the pharma space. It's on Glenmark. We have Shubham Kherodia. He wants to know, he's bought the Glenmark futures at 381. This is the September expiry. He says, should I book profit or hold? So at 301 is where his entry price is. It's currently trading at 388 odd levels. What would your advice be, Bhavin?
Okay, so we are looking at good amount of positivity over last couple of trading session in the pharma in particular. This has been observed over last three expiry that immediately post expiry, some amount of positive momentum is seen across the board for majority of pharma counters. Though immediate outlook continues to remain weak. So my advice would be definitely as of now, one can probably anticipate a stock moving closer to 392 to 395 level in short term. Could probably book profit around those levels.
Okay, that's Glenmark view. I think we just have time to address one more query which is coming on Facebook. Brajesh Pandya writes to us and he's bought Bank of Baroda one lot today at a price of 93. Can we just pull up the futures plate and get a check whether he's in the money or not? Bank of Baroda will come up on your screen. 92.4 and he's bought at 93. Bhavin, coming back to you, what would you advise him? Almost at par, slightly below his buying price, but should he stay put with this position considering the entire PSU banking space is weak in trade?
Okay, so believe that definitely he should be cautious with this particular counter trade with either he can look to buy puts quoting at 90 and hold on to the position, but anything below level of 90 definitely exit. Till that time one can anticipate some amount of pullback, probably closer to 94, given that majority of counters have witnessed good amount of weakness in today's trade.
Okay, well, there you have it. Well, we've run out of time on the show, so I'm going to take a moment to thank both our experts, Nirav and Bhavin, for joining us and taking us through their views on the markets. For more updates on the F&O space, you can also check our website, bloombergquint.com, specifically the futures and options pages.
With that, it's a wrap in this edition of the F&O Show. Thanks a lot for watching. Stay tuned to Bloomberg Quint for more news and updates.